do see differences, distinct differences in shape. And so you can think about the incisors in the front, think about the canines, and then think about the premolars and molars, what we call the cheek teeth. They have very, very different structures. And because of that, they can have very different functions. We'll get into that. Okay, how are the teeth attached to the jaw? Most reptiles are acrodont or pleurodont. Whereas all mammals are thecodont. Yeah, I know you don't necessarily remember what those mean. If we look at acrodont, this is a cross-section of the jaw, let's say the mandible of a reptile. In acrodont dentition, that tooth is just loosely attached to the top of the bone. Acrophobia, fear of heights, acrodont. The tooth is on the height of the jaw. Pleurodont this would be out, this would be in. Most of the tooth sits on a little ledge on the side of the tooth. Plural always is referring off to the side. But in mammals, we have our teeth in a socket, encased by bone, surrounded by bone, very, very firmly attached to the jaw, as opposed to these guys that have it just sitting on the top or sitting on that little ledge. Reptiles can get away with that because they have polyphyodont dentition. Oops, missed the Y. Physis means growth, dont means tooth, poly means many, many growths of tooth. These teeth are not well anchored in reptiles. They fall out all the time. They replace them all the time. Right? So they're going to have many different growths of teeth throughout their life. Mammals, by and large, are diphyodont. They have only 2 sets of teeth in their lifetime, di, physis, dont. You know about the milk teeth, lacteal teeth, the deciduous teeth. That's what a youngster has. And then they're replaced by the adult teeth, which last potentially for 80 years. They can last for 80 years because they're locked into a socket. They're not as likely to fall out as in your acrodont or pleurodont. All right, so we have differences in shape, differences in attachment, differences in how often the teeth get replaced. All of these relate to differences in function of the teeth. So think of, you're looking at a jaw like that. And that could be a typical reptilian jaw. You have these teeth coming down. They all have points on them. Imagine that you're looking at the plane of occlusion where the jaws are coming together. So we have that. Let's turn it and picture. Something like that. teeth like this are great for puncturing. You know, you can put holes into your prey. You can hold on to your prey pretty easily with those kinds of teeth. But mammals rely on precise occlusion of these teeth that they keep for many, many years. Precise occlusion. So, for example, if we take that jaw and modify it like that, so that our teeth are going to come together to slide past each other in a very specific pattern. Again, let's do the occlusal plane like that. Now, what I'm doing with those little dots is indicating that this tooth is somewhat complex on the top. It does have some points on it, what mammalogists would call cusps. And that means that we're going to be able to puncture, hold on to our prey. But look what happens when these teeth slide by each other. Precise occlusion, right next to each other. Reminiscent of what? Reminiscent of scissors. All right? They slide past each other in a scissors-like action. And that allows that mammal to slice up many, many different things that a reptile never, ever could. All right? So those same teeth are allowing that mammal to puncture because he's got these cusps or bumps or points on the surface of the teeth, but the sides of the teeth are sliding by each other just like scissors. Well, we can do one more thing. This one's harder to illustrate for me, but something like that. So that we have different shapes to our teeth, potentially on the top and the bottom. Well, look at this. Right there, you've got your points. All right? So you're going to have your ability to puncture, to hold on to your prey. Note that this face here and this face here probably are going to slide past each other very, very closely. That gives me my shearing action. But the other thing that's occurring right here, if I've got a piece of food in there, you can crush it because of the difference in the shapes of your teeth. Your heterodont dentition is going to allow you to do these extra functions. So the mammals have precise occlusion. The teeth come together in a very specific manner. That is because it allows them to do more things with the food, to process the food in different ways. The reptile's only going to be able to puncture. But mammals typically are able to puncture and shear, and in addition, they can crush. Further, if you take the shape of these teeth and modify them, and modify your jaw action so that it's not just coming down, but instead you go like this, you can grind up your food. Because you can have your teeth in the form of ridges. Go look at the deer skull that's over there for you guys to identify. It's nothing but ridges. And that's because when deer and cow and camels and things like that are eating, it's not an up and down action. They put the food between their cheek teeth and then they grind it. Okay? They can do that because they have precise occlusion and heterodont dentition. A reptile can't do it. So that's our last thing on mammals, really. It's the idea of precise occlusion and heterodonty that has allowed mammals to adopt many different types of foods that simply are not available to modern reptiles. Make sense? Okay. All right. So you've got skulls, skins, tracks. That's about it.